What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to episode 20. Man, I can't believe we've had 20 episodes of the podcast. Once again, as always, I am joined with the great Gibbles.
Heyo.
And we got a great episode for you guys. We're gonna get some other news housekeeping done first, and then we're gonna dive into the big meaty portion of today's meeting. I promise we won't leave it like the stepped on tacos. We will give you all of what you're asking for today. So
she picked those up. It's fine.
Yeah, I was like, I stepped on.
She didn't let
eaten. You didn't get eaten. I'm gonna start off with some non-Final Fantasy news. So, Horizon Zero Dawn, the TV series, which was something that people were kind of excited about, is kind of no longer moving forward. So there's some behavior issues. It's the showrunner from the Umbrella Academy, and it's just seeming to not move forward. It's not great news. We'll hope that in the future they're able to get that kind of out of the way and move forward with that series. I think a lot of people are anticipating a great series for that. Off the back of the success of The Last of Us, definitely could be a great possibility of a good TV series. In some other Final Fantasy news, Horobu Yuichi. I'm terrible, and I apologize that I butchered that.
Sakaguchi.
Sakaguchi. There we go.
Hironobu Sakaguchi.
Has no interest in returning to the Final Fantasy series. So there was
Yeah, I
he
heard
reunited
rumors.
for Fantasian, and he is not coming back. So sad to see them go. Bard, talk to me about your Elden Ring experience, the end of the Elden Ring experience.
Elden Ring. Oh my god, it was great. I loved Shadow of the Earth Tree. It was so good.
Fastest
especially
boss
as-
ever, right?
They nerfed that, by the way. They hard nerfed it. They hard nerfed that way of that weapon. They actually put a bunch of nerfs recently. So I kind of cheesed the final boss. There was a glitch that was happening with specifically. So there's a new weapon type called the flasks. It's a weapon, and there was an ash of war you could put on it that made it so like it did like a trail of like explosions, and if you aim them all at the ground, all the explosions detonated at the same point and at the same time, so you could just stack all that damage simultaneously. There was also a glitch that two of those flasks, there's one for like each element type, the frenzy flame and the lightning one would sometimes accidentally do double damage.
Sometimes accidentally.
Yes. So it it was a very easy. I think I killed the final boss in about 14 seconds. Something like that.
It was enough for a Twitch clip.
But as someone who has played every Souls game except for Sekiro, I've played the first part of Sekiro. I just couldn't get into it. I will go back and play it eventually. But as someone who's played all the mainline Soulsborne games, there's so much hidden in here that is like callbacks and fan service that it doesn't take away from it. Like some people get mad about that kind of thing, like with like Spider-Man, the last movie, how it was done well. You could get entertainment from it even if you didn't grow up with Tobey and Andrew Garfield, right?
Yeah.
But if you did grow up with them, it was that much better. I felt that way with Shadow of the Earth Tree. Like the fucking madness fuckers in the ageless old ones or whatever they're called, in Madness Swamp, they're exactly another enemy from Bloodborne. There's another boss. I'm not gonna name it because it's at the end. There's two bosses at the end of a whole storyline that are just straight like ripped from Bloodborne as well. One of them plays it looks like Rom. It fights kind of like Abritus, and then there's another boss that's essentially Mikolash, and it's great. It was. I know some people were complaining about it being too hard, and we talked about that in our last podcast too.
We did.
But it's
Hi, Luna.
my experience with it was great. What about your, like, I know you've played all of them, or most of them, right?
I played most of them because I played through with you guys, but
Yeah.
and I tried to do a little bit of Sekiro, and I got reasonably far. I got through the first couple bosses. That game is just a different breed of game, obviously, from what the dodge heavy that Elden Ring and Dark Souls have been. So definitely a bit different. Yeah, I enjoyed the last boss. I did move to an arcane build after a little bit and was able to kind of get a couple people in. There was another cheese that was going on where people were using shields to kind of cheese damage out. So like you could do like you could stab with like a dagger but still have a shield up, and it would like give like ultimate defense. I've seen a couple more builds kind of pop up as well through my TikTok feeds of like some heavier bleed builds that have been built out. I know those got kind of nerfed.
Guard counters have been strong the entire game. It's just that it's a build you have to be kind of stronger for, and you have to kind of give up like some movements. People don't really like playing it, but it's been strong through the entire game.
We are seeing some of the funny builds, the level 1s beating bosses that some of us struggled with, so that's always funny. There's a guy that's doing like he did like Renola on with level 1, no scattered update.
Someone beat the final boss in the first week that way.
Yeah. And he did it.
No,
He
no
did it with
levels,
like
no scattered trees.
he did it with like a club, and he was just bonking bosses the entire time. It was fantastic. And he'd take clips of it and put it on TikTok and have funny sound voices like bonk, bonk. Like it was really quite humorous. It's funny to watch those. I do enjoy those. They do come a lot funnier after you've beat your head against the wall trying to beat the bosses on their own. So definitely fun. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I thought the game was I thought the ending was good. I think the way they built it up, I'll flash a quick spoilers. Well, I guess we won't because you had held off on yours. So I think the way that they had built up the final boss and the way that they had done that and how the story kind of played into the main story kind of played into that was quite good.
I feel like there's definitely room for another sequel. There's still questions, which is great. Or not sequel, but
another DLC.
DLC, yeah.
Which they might. I mean, they've generally done 1 or 2, right? So we might get another one to kind of wrap the story up and get prepped for another thing that they'll do. No word from that studio as to what their next thing is. They obviously just did an Armored Core. There was a very small rumor mill that a Bloodborne HD version was coming out, but that has not been.
That's been a rumor
for a
nonstop
while.
For so long, and it is not up to From Software. Bloodborne is owned by Sony.
Correct.
So it is always been up to Sony, and people have been crying for it for so long. And I know, like, they just had a really good release of Demon Souls from Bluepoint. Just give Bloodborne to Bluepoint, please.
Yeah.
But
so we'll see, and then we'll see if that gets the PlayStation exclusive love to PC that people have been asking for as well, because that's been another big request. But I think if we look at line of succession here, we're either have they said that they're never doing another Bloodborne, or has that been not something that they haven't?
Miyazaki does not like sequels. Dark Souls 2 was done against his wishes, which is why Dark Souls 2 sucked, and why the DLCs fixed it. And that's what, if you're here, Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin, that's a bundle that released with the DLCs. The DLCs were done by Miyazaki, the lead producer, head creator for the Soul series. That's why there's no Demon Souls 2 and stuff like that. Dark Souls 3 was done because he was like, "Screw you! You screwed over my game. I'm gonna make an actual sequel now." And then he made Dark Souls 3. And that's why Dark Souls 2 is so weird
as well.
Oh yeah. Especially, I mean, like, so we can go back to like the DLC thing. The DLCs for every single Souls game has been where all of the the people play the game, they like the game. The DLCs drop, they love the game. Bloodborne would not be Bloodborne without the Old Hunters DLC. Just talk about how Dark Souls 2 was the most hated game until Scholar of the First Sin dropped and all the DLCs came out with it. Dark Souls 1, the Abyss DLC, some of the best bosses in the entire game, Artorias, comes from there. And the Dark Souls 3, my argument of maybe the best designed, even still after playing Shadow of the Erdtree, I still think Slave Knight Gale is the best designed boss I've ever fought.
You were designing your Viper behind what's her name from Bloodborne, right? That's what you were trying to do your cosplay as.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't think of her name right now. Something of the Astral Clock Tower.
Maria.
Maria, yeah, I couldn't even mill it in a second in my head.
Yeah. So I remember when you got Viper to 100, you were like, "All right, now to get a Maria cosplay." I was like, "Okay."
Exactly. I mean, a lot of it's in there. The main thing is the hat. I can't find a hat. The Red Mage has the hats for it. I can't find a Viper one.
Sliding from Final Fantasy, this is a good transition. before we get into our conversation about Final Fantasy 14. 14's Dawn Trail draws the most players in over a decade to come back to either come back to the game or to purchase and play the game, which is really really good for this community. I know that they kind of pigeoned people, and we'll talk about that a little bit. That's kind of a gripe that some people have had where they've forced people into creating characters on Dynamis. I think it's good for Dynamis overall, but that was a big thing. They locked out character creation in all of their servers but Dynamis this last couple weeks, so we'll see when that opens up.
They've done that over time anyway. Anytime servers are congested, they always lock out character creation in those servers.
Yeah, but it's always individual servers, and they locked out data travel to any other servers but Dynamis.
But I mean, here's the thing. So like, people can complain about that, right? But you were here for the Shadowbringers launch. Were you here for any of the other ones?
I was here for the Endwalker launch.
Oh, Endwalker, yeah, and Shadowbringer.
Yeah, no, Endwalker was worse than Shadowbringers.
Yeah, I mean, Stormblood was horrible as well. Like, all of their launches have been riddled with problems, and like, I was there for Robon Savage and Pippin Extreme, right? It was horrible. How congested, how impossible it was to log in, and besides, like, I think like one time I've heard of like entire servers getting dumped because there was a problem and then people instantly got logged back in. The login queues have not been long.
They've been very good.
And everyone can still travel to Dynamis. It's breathed life into Dynamis, and you're still not locked out from be able to play with your friends, because everyone can data center travel except for people on Dynamis, but everyone has come to them.
Yep. So like I said, I think it's good for Dynamis. The question will be what long-term effects it has on Dynamis, right? So like, are they going to keep it locked through the first part of Savage so that it kind of creates Dynamis to be the rating server until they fix the rating problems? Like, that's the big question, right? Is like, are these things that we're going to see going to be more permanent based, or are they going to be more individual based? So it's I'm interested to see when things unlock for travel, what that's all going to look like, and kind of go from there. I think that's a big piece of it, but really big commends to Final Fantasy for really cleaning up the server logins. This has been really, really nice to be able to like log in and not have like 150 to 1,000 people, attempting to try to get in. Obviously, there's some outliers with some outages and stuff like that, but overall, it has been very good overall. I've been very pleased.
Every launch they've had has been riddled with DDoS attacks, but this one included. But I mean, you don't feel it. The fact that like it's been almost flawless has been a real testament to that too.
Yep. So definitely happy overall about all of that. Yeah, let's I think that today's gonna be a big meaty Final Fantasy 14 episode, because we got a lot to get over. We're gonna start with a spoiler free section where we kind of give overall impressions, not really diving into any kind of story details, and then we'll have a moment where we give people the opportunity who have not finished the storyline to kind of cut out, and then we'll dive into some spoilery stuff, because I know Bard and I are kind of both at the same position where we've finished the story, we've started some EX grind, we've we started our crafter grind, and getting that wrapped up, and then we'll talk about our plans for the next couple of weeks and in game and whatnot, and go from there. But yeah, Bart, I'll let you kick off.
I say we start with job and system changes. That's the most spoiler free we can do, and it's some of the best things that they've done in this thing. Like the fact that you can walk up and to an NPC and everyone just disappears. It's so jarring the first time it happens, but it's such a nice change. The as well as like the auto voice roll. I remember we had to tell Val that. I was like, hey, I noticed you like you manually did that. You don't have to anymore.
Yeah, that's been a really nice change. So just to throw it's a setting that you can turn on for NPCs for quests and MSQ quests. So it is not just limited to MSQ. It is any quest that you have to see a vendor for, an NPC for. The people around that NPC within like a 2 to 3 elm radius will just disappear, which makes it easier to find them and get to them. It has caused me a little bit of a gripe where it's like, I'll like see a friend, right? Like I wish there was a setting where like people in your friends list wouldn't disappear, but like I understand that that's like a lot of extra power on the back end to have to deal with. But like I've had times where I'm like, I see a friend and then I go to click on them to emote them and they disappear because I stepped too close to an NPC. So it's like, okay, like I guess.
I feel like it's because only quests you're actively doing, so I feel like that's only a problem like the first week of like patch drops.
Well, no, it's any quest that you potentially could pick up, because I was in the crafting studium area, and I hadn't picked up the quest yet, but the area where the NPC was disappeared. Anybody around him disappeared because I hadn't picked up the quest yet. It was an available quest.
Oh, I thought it was only quest he had like you were in the middle of doing. Okay.
No, it's any quest you have not picked up that you could potentially pick up. So it's to remove anybody getting in the way of you being able to try to grab that NPC.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
So overall, I mean, they both have been really, like, both of those things have been really, really good. The change in the voice, I mean, especially for Bard and I, who went through and did the read-throughs, right? Not having to worry about changing the settings on how we did things or progressing through voiced cut scenes, and letting it do its thing on its own was really quite fantastic. Made at least for stream for me a little bit easier to, like, you know, kind of catch my breath and let things do its thing. I
definitely feel like it was. I feel like it was really big as a streamer of a change.
Yeah.
I feel like probably as like a player in general, you're probably like, oh yeah, that's a cool thing. But as a streamer, you're just like, oh, thank God, because
a little bit of reprieve.
Yeah. Same with the amount of voice dialogue. It's also great as a streamer because you don't have to. You have to keep talking, reading out loud all the dialogue.
You get those water breaks.
There
were moments that I felt like I wanted more voice acting that didn't come. Right?
Oh yeah,
definitely some moments where like some really key moments that I felt like in the story that would have been nice to have as a voice lined.
I definitely feel on the back end. On the back end
for sure. There's a couple that come to mind, and we can talk about those when we get to the spoiler section. But but yeah, there's a couple of big ones where I kind of wish that they had voiced it out. And I know that like budgeting and stuff like that's hard because the more lines you do, the more you have to pay. So it's like, you know, it does feel like they definitely got a budget, right? I mean, definitely feels like the game overall got a budget. A lot of really good quality of life. The graphics look really pretty, and it's funny because it's like we spent a lot of time in the new areas, and so it's all new, right? So you don't feel the graphic change until you jump into the old areas, and you're like, wow, this looks great. So it's been nice to do that as well.
Yeah, a couple of the weapons, like you can really, when a piece of gear that has the graphical update or a weapon and it has a lot of details on it, you can really see it pop. Like and you can see like the lighting like reflect off all the details. That's where I feel like I've seen the graphical update like really pop,
really shine. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, overall, the game was really good. I like the warrior changes. They changed some of the visuals, so they're a little more explosive. So it feels like you're really like rocking out some damage, even if you may not be, right? I mean, it's just...
I heard they changed the animation for I can't remember what the ability's called, but you infuriate and then your fell cleave changes to like infuriated fell cleave or something like that. I heard they changed the animation for that. They
did, and it looks great. It's like a nice big explosion, and then you got a couple that like the new 100. It's a like you.
Oh, you're muted.
There, am I? Oh, whoops. It's the way that they're doing it now is they're really prioritizing the fell cleaves in order to give you, so you get 3 fell cleaves and then you hit a buff for hitting all 3 fell cleaves, and then you have 1 for your primal rend. There's a decimate for primal rend, which looks really cool too. The decimate is my favorite. It looks like you're exploding a volcano up on top of an enemy. It all looks really, really sweet and clean and well done, and the rotations feel good. Not a lot of big changes, just me trying to get back into the motion of testing the right buttons at the right time.
You still have damage on your gap closer, don't you?
I do still have damage on my gap closer.
Yeah, two of the things lost
that I have. I have a massive gripe with that.
Yeah, it's weird. Like they got rid of on 2 of the tanks and not the other 2. It's really weird.
The thing is that they would had to have gotten rid of the gap closer for Primal Rend in order to get rid of the other gap closers. I mean, they could have just gotten rid of it, but like,
I don't think they would have. I think they could have kept that as a function and then just taken the damage off of the normal
gap
closers.
closers as part of my burst has been probably my largest gripe for the longest time because it just feels so janky that like the number of times the number of times that I killed the party because of shit, what is the mechanic? It was
the like in out section.
No, in part 2 of P12, it's the second version of the thing where you have to pass the flames.
Oh, in P12. Oh yeah. Not Ekpyrosis.
No, it's you have classical and then you have.
Yeah, it's caloric.
Caloric 2. The number of times I wiped the party on Caloric 2 because I made too much movement because I was on the outside and I did my burst, which caused me to gap close in and kill, is like, it was really infuriating to me, honestly. So infuriate. But yeah, I wish that they would get rid of them. I just wish that they would get rid of the gap closing and the bit damage behind gap closing and allow us to use gap closers as part of just getting to enemies and not being part of the burst. So it's definitely something that I wish that they would change, but they won't. I know it's what Paladin and Warrior still have it.
Yeah, they got rid of it on Dark Knight and
yeah.
Which
and I've talked to a couple of people. Dark Knight feels bad.
Oh yeah, I mean, so I've heard some people that actually play Dark Knights feel bad, and I've talked to me as a healer, and from what I'm talking to other healers, you can feel it when you have a Dark Knight tank, and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I know they're trying to. Yeah, they just need to make please remove from summoners from Ifrit. Yeah, I don't understand for some of them why they're there. Right? I mean, like, Primal Rend is one of the largest damage dealing attacks that they do, and so it's like it's a gap close. Like, why? Why is it a gap close?
I know some people. I've watched some people, especially in dungeons. They will make a point to walk away from the enemy first to then Primal Rend, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah. It's not like it does more damage if you're further away. It's like,
no, but they just want the gap closer to happen because they extends the animation so they want it to look cooler.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. I think all the classes did. They've gotten a nice buff overall. Speaking of change, we'll talk about changes here too before we get into spoiler zone.
There's still some classes that get changed again.
Yeah, they are making some adjustments again to the overall. Yeah, the infuriated Felcleave is really nice. Let's see, where are the big old changes?
I have it pulled up here. I can pull.
Do you?
I can
okay.
Talk about
Good.
I've had it pulled up since they launched. They dropped it. So, so there's a couple of classes that are getting changed. We know one is getting nerfed, and like everything else is getting a buff, or like a kind of like a change around rework. So Monk. They said it is our aim to preserve Monk's playstyle from the 6X series. Several changes to their core abilities. Stacks of Fury, chief among them. So the Stacks of Fury are noted as a problem. Have significantly changed how it feels to play the job. We discovered certain actions had incorrect potencies, as well as an error pertaining to the requirements to apply Stacks of Fury. We plan to address this patch 2.0, which should result in improved effectiveness, area of effect attacks. So you're getting area effect attacks, like more damage, apparently. They're also doing minor adjustments to the job HUD to make it make more sense. Yoshi says, "My apologies for the Monk's inadequate performance." And because of these job problems, they actually offered free time to all players. Actually, nice. If you notice, they added free time to everybody. Astro is getting a buff. Personally, as someone who's playing Astro, and I know Alex can probably contend, I've heard some other people say Astro is really strong right now. They got rid of you can't keep up the damage cards as as often, but you still have your one of your biggest damage buffs, divination, to the party, and you still have um, and you got extra damage as well as the combo off divination. So your damage is still there, your RDPS is still there, you're still giving buffs to the party, but you got a lot of healing and like support buffs added to it as well. But because the cards are on such a long cooldown, they are shortening them. We don't know how much they're shortening them to. The guess is either 40 or 30 seconds, or 45 or 30. They are a minute right now for each card draw. But like, so, as someone who's gone through like just the dungeon play, sometimes you can go through the whole dungeon without touching your cooldowns. You just use your cards and damage.
Nice.
They're pretty good. Especially one's a shield, one's a regen, one buffs heals, and then another one is a damage is a defense up. It's great. They're also increasing the damage on Macrocosmos. Viper, there was a bunch of misinformation saying that this was a nerf. It's not. People are saying it's too busy, so they're adjusting the.
All they said is the tiniest of reworks.
All they said is they're adjusting the positionals, because there's 4 positionals in it. Everyone is assuming, they haven't said exactly what it is. Everyone's pretty much sure that they're removing the positionals off the Dreadwinder combo, which is the thing that makes the most sense because that's one of the busy sections of the job. They're also increasing. We also intend to make smaller adjustments to the range of certain abilities. We're not sure exactly what this means. Some people, like I watched Mr. Happy video on it, they talked about maybe Reawaken and a couple other abilities, like the Mirror Max Melee is like just short of like normal Max Melee or something like that. So they're increasing it a little bit. Black Mage is, I think, the biggest point of contention right now. Besides Dark Knight, people are not happy with Black Mage. And a lot of that has to do with the MP region. And especially, so they changed the way MP region works on Black Mage, and they didn't really take into account too much anytime you're under like 62 or something like that. Before you have Umbral Soul, which is a really good way to get an extra ice stack to gain MP back, and so they're adjusting the way MP region works before then, stuff like that. And they also, so that's 7.01, but they also said with plans to make further adjustments to action potencies in 7.05. So you can, so 0.01 comes out the 16th, right? Next Tuesday, and then 05 is the actual Savage drop.
Yep.
On the 30th, right? Okay, so the 30th, you'll get, so the 30th you'll get big, you'll get big Black Mage buffs, and in next Tuesday you'll get some MP region.
I expect there'll be some. I expect that there will be some potency changes in 0.05. Like I just expect it.
Yeah.
They'll see how things function in the normal raids because we've got 2 weeks to run those. They'll pull the numbers and kind of play the our potencies balance, getting ready.
I think
for
they can already do
Savage.
it with the extremes, and I don't think they even need the normal raids. I think they can.
I think they are gonna probably look at it because from the standpoint of the gear you're getting, other than a couple pieces missing by the end of week 2, are going to be what you're going to have for walking into Savage, and so they'll probably look at those numbers that are being produced and then see how they stack against a boss to make that balance.
Yeah. So tanks, you're not crazy. You are losing aggro. It's not your fault.
It sucked. It's so bad.
So the general gameplay that you've been able to do in other expansions, in dungeons, is you run through, it's the first pack of mobs, you AoE once, maybe twice, and you move on. And you just go to the next pack because you want to pull the whole pack. And what do the DPS always do? They always do their big ass opener right on that first pack and start DPSing them while you're running to the next one. If you've noticed, right now you're like, why am I losing aggro so much? It's because of that. The openers are just so much damage that tanks aren't generating enough aggro off that one AoE. So they're adjusting.
No, it is
all
all classes, Alex. It is not just Gunbreakers and Dark Knights. It is all classes. As a warrior, I'm still feeling it. No, that's false.
No, it's all tanks are getting the change. um, was it so due to the fact they're including this though. So they're due to the fact certain jobs are able to begin encounters with high damage attacks, an issue compounded by the removal of damage from Dark Knight and Gunbreaker's movement abilities, which to be honest I don't think is actually the main problem, but it is compounded by it. To help remedy this, there will be increases to immunity effects to tank area of effect attacks, as well as their movement abilities in patch 7.01. So they're adding in, so they're effectively adding in a weaker version of Provoke to Dark Knight and Gunbreaker's movement ability, but that still only affects one enemy. So it's not their movement that's actually the problem. Because the big problem is
they're going to be buffing enmity. They said they're buffing enmity on AOE attacks only, so they're only doing it for AOE attacks where it's the biggest problem. So and no, Alex, it is not just for Dark Knights and Gunbreakers. It is for all classes, all AOE all classes with AOE, all tanks with AOE are getting enmity updates. It was marked as a tanks update, not a Gunbreaker Dark Knight.
Because here's the thing, it's you're not gap closing anyways into packs, really, and if you are, like, you're getting damage on one enemy, that doesn't help you keep aggro on the other 2 or 3 in that pack. That's so right there, it's already like, no, that's not what's causing it. Maybe they're having problem keeping aggro on the rip of a boss, but that's the only time that would come into an effect, with the gap closer. But Alex, if you're not having the problem leveling the tanks and going into dungeons, are you double AOing? Are you taking time to make sure you generate aggro before moving on to the next pack? Because a lot of tanks who have a lot of experience don't do that because they're used to the fact that they only need one. And
one AOE. And Warrior, you can theoretically get 2 in because there's an OGCD weave that you can throw. That generally is fine. But
Oracle,
yeah.
Talk about Astro.
Yeah, we're talking about tanks.
Yeah, your Oracle is what's ripping the aggro.
Yeah. But it's been a problem, and I've been feeling it, and so it's definitely one of those things that I'm happy that they're like noticing it's an issue and they're making a fix for it, because it definitely needs to be there. Yeah,
the big thing I'm feeling is that they're not addressing Dark Knight concerns.
I will say these last few dungeons that I've done, I've been having, and I know this isn't an everything issue, but I've had a couple of dungeons where like healers have been trying to press forward, and I know that that's part of like the wanting to feel like they feel something when they heal for some of them. But I'll be straight up. I sit for a couple GCDs because I've been having the aggro issue, and so if it fixes, then it'll be fine. But I've been popping a couple GCDs just so I can know that I'm holding aggro before I move on to the next fight. I had a healer in one of my dungeons. I think it was one of the EX dungeons, or one of the level 100 dungeons, that ran ahead, like was literally in front of me to go get the second pack, and I was like, he had done it a couple times prior, and I had kind of like brushed it off a little bit. I think I was with Snuggles and Jay at the time, and I told Snuggles and Jay, I said, if he runs ahead again, it's going to be he pulls it, he tanks it, and I let him die, because it's not his job to pull, it's my job to pull, and I'm trying to get things collected when I know that there's an enmity issue. So it's if you get me as a tank, just know, you run ahead as a healer, I will give you a you pull, you tank, and it will be your fault. As Gibbles can tell you, I'm not a bad tank, and I can hold my own on aggro, but if there's an aggro issue and I'm trying to take an extra second to carry it, just slow down. Just stop.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a little bit of a nuanced thing. I kind of gave up on the like, you pull it, you tank it kind of thing a long time ago. But I mean, like, obviously, if it's there's nuance to that, right? Like, if they're being a dick about it and like not even giving you time, like, you're obviously gonna pull the next pack, but they're not giving you time to go do it, then yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, we had pulled the packs all the way up the entire time, and then that last one, I was like, no, if you're gonna pull it ahead of me, just stop.
The reason why you're getting they're taking too long, Alex, and you're placing your earthly star is the aggro problem that we just mentioned. So they're having to take time and do a second or third AoE before moving on to the second pack,
to ensure that we're holding on to all the aggro from the mobs. So we're taking the extra second to put more enmity on so that we can run. Because if we run too soon, it just sucks.
Because you're opening with Oracle and the Reaper's opening with Enshrouded on a normal pack of enemies or something like that.
But it's not even the healers that are the issue. It's more the DPS. No. Some of the DPS have some big opening bursts.
Yeah. I was just simply using Oracle because Alex earlier said I have Oracle because he's loving that ability.
Yeah. Well, I mean, potentially by the time you do get a cap, it's going to be fixed, right? I mean,
it's the 0.01 is when the enemies get changed.
Which is next Tuesday.
Yes. So there's 3 more classes getting changed. They comboed Samurai and Red Mage. They did not say when this change was going to get done, but it's planned. For Samurai, we'll be reducing the recast timer of Tendo Setsugeka and Tendo Kaishi Setsugeka. For Red Mage, they'll be extending the effect duration of Manification. Manification is a stack mechanic, so it just gives you more time to use the stacks, which is okay. And then Samurai, I have no input on Samurai. There's too many buttons. I have
the only thing I have is you collect the stickers and then you use the stickers. That's all I know.
Yeah, I haven't heard anybody talking bad on Samurai. I haven't heard anyone being like upset about it. So they're getting some recast timers reduced, which means they're probably going to get maybe a damage upgrade. But I think both these are resource spenders, so maybe not. Who knows? Someone who plays Samurai too.
One sticker for buff, 2 stickers for AoE, and 3 stickers for big single target blast. That's all you gotta know.
So, Pictomancer. If you haven't noticed, Pictos have been absolutely dominating the DPS. If you go on FF logs right now and you look at the EXs, everything in the top 100 parses. Average, it's Picto. There's number 30 is a Reaper, but everything above is Picto, and then number 45 is a Viper, and then there's a Reaper 20 below that as well. Picto is far and above taking away the damage. There's a couple of reasons for this. One is we discovered an issue wherein players could manually disable the effects of Subtractive Palette, Aether Hues, and Aether Hues 2. One of those, I don't know which one it was, if you click it off, it shortens your rotation, and you lose a cast, but it shortens your rotation and allows you to push your damage even higher. That's not the reason why it's DPSing so high. It is a DPS buff. It is a tech thing. But it's not the reason why they're pumping so high. That will be changed in 7.01, so in 2 weeks. But we ask you please refrain from manually removing these status effects when practicing your rotation. This is for one, please just stop doing it, guys. It's we get it, your DPS is big right now, and 2, don't get used to it.
It's and I've seen the community kind of agree with that, right? So it's they know it's coming back, so they're gonna start doing it per how it's supposed to be done. We saw this with the EX2 glitch that people were utilizing. A lot of them were going back to just running bagel strat, which that was the big strat pull at this point. And so they're like, we're not going to glitch it, we're just going to use bagel strat, it's fine, whatever. And so they fixed, I think that one got fixed a couple days ago when they did the
I heard there was a cheese. I did not know anything about it or what it was. So
it had something to do with the area for Conga Line. I don't want to say too much because it'd be diving into spoilers.
That might have been why. So I watched Val doing it, and she was doing. They were doing Conga Line. They were trying to figure it out because they're mostly blind, and they were just having a really hard time with that specific mechanic. Every time they got to it, they were swiping. And then I watched. I think it was 2 days ago. I watched Sayeki do it, and they did it a completely different way. And they did it in the Conga Line.
I kind of want to call it Party Bus instead of Conga Line, and I'll explain why when we get to the spoiler section, because it's the way that Conga Line to me is not the way that I would have explained it. But anyways,
I don't know. I know. So I'm guessing that the way that they were trying to do it with Val's team originally might have been the way the cheese was supposed to be doing it or something. I don't know.
Maybe. But yeah, I mean, overall, like, yeah, there's some fixes that are coming in, which are always, you're always going to have fixes, right? They're always going to be there. But I think the game overall was very well done. Great story. There's a couple lulls. We'll talk about those in the spoiler section, but overall, I think they did it's a great showing, right? I mean, I had a feeling, I walked into this expansion with the understanding that there would probably be a dip in story, right? Because it's you're starting a brand new story off of a great arc that finished, and I think they did a great job of keeping the highs as long as they possibly could.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it was they're pushing their luck in the pace in a few places, and definitely one place. So I mean, like I'll say this. This isn't really spoilers. I'll say this. So I'll just explain the pace. So like it's a story in two parts. The first half is a slow story, and this is where they kind of push their luck. They didn't really, in my opinion, it wasn't too long, but it was like it was like one fetch quest away. They were pushing their luck on how long they were dragging out the first half of the story. Then there's a completely dead zone, completely wasted, and I know a lot of people instantly started just skipping in the middle zone, which it was. I didn't mind it either. Like, right, it was a good story.
It was a borderline slow pace, right? It was borderline too slow. So like it was enough that you could keep interested. Once it hit the end of that kind of like piece, then it was like that's where Bard's talking about like things people are starting to skip in, and I have a fix for that, I would have a fix for that, but like I mean obviously the game's already out. There's not really anything you can do about it now.
You could rearrange some events that happen, and the fourth zone would have been like good. But definitely the fourth zone was I know people started skipping at that point because it was so slow. And I know the whole final half was just peak. It kept your attention the entire time.
Yep.
I will say that the final zone was again not too long, but they were pushing their luck a little bit. The peaks and valleys of storytelling. I don't think blaming the consumer is the right take on that.
Also, valleys in this situation felt more like a 3-day vacation at the base of the mountain with nothing going on, and that to me is too slow. You have this very pinnacle point, and then you just go, and we'll talk about that more when we get to it, because I have what I believe could have been a good fix for it. Obviously, the game's already out, so there's nothing we can do about it. But like, I have what I believe could have been a good fix, because I think in the fourth zone there's some neglecting that they did. Like they brought something in and then they kind of neglected it, right? Like, so, and Bart and I've talked about this a little bit, but anyways, yeah, I mean, do we want to dive into the spoiler zone since we're we talked kind of high about?
I think this may be some stuff we could talk about that's not spoiler, but I think we're edging so close into the spoilers.
Let's throw it up. Okay, so this is a warning for anybody who has not finished Dawn Trail or has played Dawn Trail. We are going to be talking about story. We are going to talk about characters and happenings and things and where things will go or where we believe things will go and whatnot. So if you don't want to be a part of that, we love you. We want you to be here, but we don't want you to be here and be spoiled. So we'll give you a moment to figure it out. If you want to mute, if you want to tab us, that's fine. But we don't want to spoil anything for you guys. So please take a moment. And cool. All right, we're going to talk about stuff. All right, so right off the bat, I think the story was well done. They get you into the town. I think they really immerse you in what's going on, right? You get to meet everybody. You get your tacos stepped on, which really sucks, right? And then
I have a question. I have a question for you, Kula.
Sure.
You like jazz?
Do you like jazz? Do you like jazz? I do like jazz. I don't know if I like it as much as they wanted to push it on me, but I like jazz.
Oh, I love it. I love the jazz. It's great.
But I think the setup's really good, right? I think they took right off the end of the patch content your pre-boat at the end of the patch content. You're walking on the boat for the beginning of the expansion. You get there, everything's lively, everything's up, and peace is there, right? You're in the peace, and you find out that there's 4 people who are in the running to become the Dawn Servant, who is basically the president or ruler of the valley, right? Of the lands. It's not really clear what the duties of. I mean, it is sort of clear what the duties are, but it's not like they command power is basically how it kind of felt like to me. There wasn't really like a defining thing, but
I mean, like they show it later. Like Kona was the one who made the treaty with Razadhan. It seems like you could call him a king, right? And then
they
there's
speak on behalf of the land, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they unite the tribe. So I think it's a really good example because I have a video I'm working on. I'm writing and I'm starting a script and stuff like that about like the first half of this. You could think about it like fucking Black Panther.
Yeah.
The movie. There's all these tribes, and like all the tribes have their own. Yeah, all of the tribes have their own like thing, and it's the King T'Challa joins all the tribes together. You remove the king, and all the tribes just fight each other.
Right.
And then on top of it, he's also in charge of foreign policy and stuff like that.
Foreign connections and alliances and stuff like that. But
yeah.
So you're met with obviously the 4 contenders, right? You got Kona, or as I like to refer to him as Bahatia. You've got Wukalamat, which is your Clement that you're working with. You got goddamn, the names are all over the place. Bakul Jaja. Yeah, Zeralja and Bakul Jaja. Bakul's there because Zeralja and Bakul's there because he won a fight, right? He won a tournament, so he gets to be there because he won a fighting tournament. And Zeralza is the first, the true born son. He is Galu Jaja's heir apparent. All the pressure on him as the true real son, not adopted, true real son, and they really want to stress, like they really want you to know that he is the chosen one because he's the only one to have been birthed from a blessed son, the only one ever, and
he's the next step in evolution.
He's the next step in evolution, including the deadhead that he gets in the trial. He's got the X gene, okay? Yes, he's the first promise. So, as the first promise, they say this very briefly. It's not, and this is the kind of the one of the gripes that I have is like where a lot of people draw this like, well, I don't understand why it's such a big deal. They mention at the very beginning that by being called the first promise, his strength rivals his father's. Like they make that mention at the very, very beginning of like, he's been marked as the first promise because he is the
ruler of the army. The leader of the army is always the strongest one, and he's the leader of the army because he actually beat their dad in combat. Yeah. Or
they've stalemated, right? I think the wording they used was like the only people to have survived a fight with their father was Zeralja and Astinian. Now Astinian's fight gets cut short, obviously, so we don't really know who won that actual fight. And then obviously your fight doesn't have a definitive winner. I mean, it's obviously clear we could have kicked his ass. I mean, I don't know about you, but like, I don't like kicking old man's ass, but it is what it is.
I think it's pretty. You can take the. They can give an inch, you can take a mile, right? I think we can take that mile that almost every single one of the fights we do, unless we pull out Azem's crystal, we could solo it.
Right.
And it's us kind of going at a lackadaisical pace. The only fights that have actually pushed us, I would say since the last, since Shadowbringers, right? I would say Hades pushed us. I would say SOS pushed us, right?
But I would say pushed a lot of people.
I'm not meaning like in like the players. I mean the actual character. I would say Vanape probably pushed the character. Yeah.
Venat, you know,
But I think,
fight,
well, like
I
you
think
can
is
see
a
like
push point.
the fight that's like the push us to our limit was the Xeno fight, right?
Right.
It was proof, that was the proof that this was the fight that we gave everything to, and every other fight we held something back. I think that was like kind of the point of that fight, to show like we beat all, like we were tested, we were pushed to our limits, but we were able to help, we were able to hold something back in every other fight before the Xenos fight. And I think that's still true to this day, or like everything after that as well. And the only time we actually pulled out, like, granted, it was also because we could pull in other people, right? Did we Azim's Crystal for Zeralja? I don't think so. Since we're in spoiler territory.
For Zeralja, yes, because remember they captured, obliterated.
Oh, that's right. Wait.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we didn't.
No, the only fight we used it for was the final one.
Yeah, and well, one thing that was really interesting on the Azim's Crystal. I don't know if you noticed it. The sign of Azim show when we were using our summoning appeared on top of the key.
Sorry, when did we physically pull out the Azim Crystal in order to be able to get support for the fight? And it's the only one we got was the EX3. Everything else could have been done with trusts.
Yeah, EX2 we didn't do.
That's the mark of when he brings it out, is when you don't have enough for trusts.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, EX2, it was still like, we could have soloed it. EX3 was the one where we called upon heroes from across dimensions to help our fight.
Right. So here's my gripe, right? We get through 7, and we kind of touched on this a little bit. We get through 7 trials in only the southern portion of the continent. And then they become Dawn Servant. And then we go with Erenville to go visit his mom, right? That's the next bit, right? That's what drives us to go north, was our want to go north and to go see Erenville's mom. And then we get Red Dead Redemption with a teeny tiny little bit of Dances with Wolves. Very teeny tiny little bit. And then we get the next big plot point, right? So here's my fix, right? Here's my big fix. You make an 8th trial with the Dances with Wolves guys. So this is the Makotes in the northeastern corner. You make an 8th point and allow them to give their, like, becoming, reading the nature. Don't make fun of Yeehaw. You just made fun of Yeehaw.
How jarring Yeehaw is.
Yeah, I love how, like, don't make fun of Yeehaw Land. Like, that's not what it's called. But I think that if you had an eighth trial and you have it there, right? Because obviously he's brought all the tribes together, right? Not just the ones in the south. So it's like you're missing all of these ones in the north. Now, I understand, like, you get to a point where, like, you can't have that many, otherwise you're gonna spoil too many areas. But I think you get these, like, understanding nature, understanding when too much is too much.
We also had a double trial with the Giants, and we didn't need to. I mean, like, yeah, right. Zeralja's, like, journey, there's 2 things that happen there. But, like, the Valley Armanda being released, and then us, we would stop that no matter what, whether it was a trial or not. Right. So we didn't need the, you get the second trial because you beat Valley Armanda. That's great. We didn't need that. We could have also had to, like, unite the North as well.
Yeah, so I think you do your nature thing, and then they get the Dawn, the Dawn Servant title, right? I think it was well done. I called it kind of a little bit during the course of the time that I was playing on stream, which was, like, at first I thought it was going to be the 3 of them, the 3 promises that were going to trifecta some kind of leadership, and then obviously it was like Zeralja kind of pulled away as being more villainous, right, than we expected, and so it left me. There were moments, like, after you rescue Wuklamot, where Kona's like, winning doesn't mean anything if I lose people in the process, right? So it's like it's very understanding that, like, as adopted siblings, that they were more connected than Zeralja was, because obviously that was obvious. And so at the very end, when they get the Dawn Servant, it's obviously she wins fair and square, because he steps down to help her, and then she steps in and says, our dad has two heads, and I can't do the reason piece, right? I can be the resolve, but I can't be the reason. And so they do that very well. That's one thing I think was done very, very well, right? They take a moment where it's
they
like
bookmarked it well too. They like there's a thing in storytelling called like hanging a lantern on it. It's foreshadowing, right? They foreshadowed it well. Kona going back and taking time to save his sister, right? And being willing to give up on the trial for certain things. They definitely bookmarked it really well, and it really came. Even before then, you felt like everything came together when Kona was just like, no, Wuklamot should lead, and he shoots his own tablet, right?
right.
It was that was a very that was where like good storytelling is tension and then resolution. I stole that from another YouTuber called Matt Colville. But just so everyone knows if anyone watches that guy. And we definitely got that. We got good tension. We got good storytelling, good build up, and then we got that really good resolution when Kona she decides, no, I'm gonna back Wuklamot and shoots his own thing.
Yep, and I think the great character development overall from a lot of the characters, in my opinion. I thought they all developed very, very well. You grew to kind of like them pretty quickly. So yeah, you get to Yeehaw Land, as Alex likes to put it, and things kind of slow down, right? We get this Red Dead Redemption mentality of like Wild Wild West and dealing with the Wild Wild West and whatnot. And I think that's where a lot of people were like, that's where Bard was saying a lot of people were skipping, because it was slow, right? You know, we get a new unofficial title, right? We got Warrior of Light, Warrior of Darkness, Collector of Feces, to and then we get to Ding Dong Door Ditch, which is probably one of the funniest parts to me. Is like, we actually Ding Dong Door Ditch.
We lit a bag of poo on fire in front of someone's house.
That's right. We Ding Dong Door Ditched. It was fantastic. And then you get this big moment, right, where you're communing with this nature because they need wood to be able to fix the train, and there's earthquakes happening, and then all of a sudden an orb falls on the ground, like falls in what is Aaronville's hometown or home area, and we find out that it's a shard or a reflection. I think at that point, obviously we got big character pickup, right? Everything picks up and it's kind of balls to the wall until the very end, which is very good. They do what they always do, which is like they kind of hide the villain early, the end villain early, and try to keep things from like happening too much. And then obviously we get what we thought we were going to get, which is a Zorolja fight. I kind of called halfway through the fifth area where I was like, all right, it's either going to be him and then her, or the her then him in the trial sequence, and it ended up being him and then her. There's a lot of. I feel like
it was told well.
Yeah.
In that section. I think the answer you brought up, and I think it's the correct answer for that story bit, was have Zoralja attack during the coronation, not a few days after while we're in not Shaloni. Wait, it is Shaloni.
It's Shaloni.
So Lani is the heritage found.
Yep.
But like it didn't need to happen in that era, and then like we go to Zone 4, and that's where we're like, oh, we need to be like figure out these people, we need to connect with them, and we need to help them out. They got attacked by robots. Maybe we can clear out some residual forces that Zoralja like left here or something, and then we can have the big Disney moment. We're all in this together. Forget everybody. Together. Everybody work on the train together. Yay! The fact that they did that same song back to back too, because they did it during the fucking coronation, and they did it again during the train building.
Yep. Big didn't care, if that's what that means. But yeah, so it the end of the game, the last section, feels like Twilight Town to me in all aspects, right? It's a fake area, it's not real. You're kind of collapsing the memories at the very end. And the music was very indicative of Kingdom Hearts 2 for me. I know a lot of people are like, it's Final Fantasy 9, but like, I'm sorry, like this is absolutely Kingdom Hearts, 100%.
So I'll say this: Living Memory is
Elbows,
Twilight.
man.
Living Memory is Twilight Town, and the dungeon Alexandria is Hollow Bastion.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
And every time you go into boss fights, it's you jumping in a Tron.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it was. I liked the ending. I like the way that they did it. It definitely leads me to a lot of like internal scheming. So like I'm gonna move past like story wise. I think it ended well. I think they did a great job. The last dungeon was good. The last trial was good. I'm excited to see what that's gonna be for an EX trial and how they're gonna play that out. They've got the fit in the right box mechanic, which will be fun to do. And that's kind of the big thing.
I mentioned that earlier, how like the key got Vanna's symbol on top while we were summoning people, and the chalice got like absorbed. I don't know if you noticed that.
I didn't notice it initially, but somebody pointed it out to me later. So
yeah,
it makes me feel. So the big thing is like I think a lot of my friends were yelling like, "Give me that back! That's mine," because it's like, yeah, it was the Azim crystal icon on it, right? So it's like, "Give me that back! That's mine."
It's really interesting because like, so it's white auracite inside, and they said they had the key, and it was later, Electrope was later added. So I think the key itself is just that twisted white auracite inside, and
Maybe.
everything, the whole chalice like around it is the Electrope that was added. Because also like the memory storage crystals that the ancients used also have the same design as white auracite, like the is it lapis Manels? No. They're Shadowbringers. Is a Shadowbringer dungeon where Y'shtola gets kidnapped from. There could be a crystal, but no. What's the dungeon in Shadowbringers where Y'shtola gets kidnapped right before SOS?
Adders.
I think
Is
maybe
it Academia Adders?
Yeah, Academia. Yeah, Academia Adder. Yeah. In that area, there's crystals that look similar to auracite as well, and it's their like storage data stuff. So I could definitely see it being an item created by an ancient.
Great character development here for Kryl as well. Getting to see her parents, finding out her name is Marin. What was the name? Alex, what was her name again?
I forgot too.
I want to say
Mayor.
it's Marin. Mayor.
Yeah.
All right, Mayor. Yeah.
Maya.
So that was really cool. Learning a little bit more about Lalafels as well. Maya, that's her. Maya.
So there might be there's probably a couple of different translations because like when you go Google, first thing it shows up as Mayor, and then Mayer, and there's Maya translations. There's probably multiple translations.
I want her back. I want Arenville's mom back.
Oh no, Kryl Mayor Baldesion is a Final Fantasy V character.
So it's
who's the granddaughter of Galuf Baldesion, which is the exact fucking same.
Yeah.
And a Princess of Ball. I've never played 5, so that actually makes so much fucking. I never knew her name was like a direct rip from 5. That's
5?
Crazy.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's from a reflection.
Which means she's from the 5th reflection.
Maybe that would be weird. The funny. I had a couple friends who were trying to like parse it out and be like, "Oh, that must make her endless," and I was like, "No, no."
Oh yeah,
the time
Alex tried to pull that
like,
shit on me, and I was like, "No."
The time shit is like the time runs differently. Obviously, it's been 20 years. If it's 2 years to 30 years, it's been like thousands of years. Or 2 days for 30 years, it's been thousands of years. So it's like no, it's definitely she's definitely real. It's definitely before the endless thing happened. Obviously, she wouldn't have been able to survive. We see what happens to Arenville's mom when the portal gets closed. She disappears. Also, big shout out to Final Fantasy for letting us ride Arenville's mom as the 100 mount. That's pretty fantastic. I'm super excited to ride Arenville's mom. But yeah, so in thinking of, yeah, that's right, Alex, I said it. Now you're never gonna be able to unsee it. That 100 mount is the Overwatch robot, which has been controlled by Aaron mom, or one of them is being controlled by Aaron mom. So you get to ride Aaron mom. Boom.
No, it's actually Sphene controlling it. It's the leftover memories of Sphene.
It's the leftover memories of Sphene. You get to ride Sphene. So, and speaking of, so Bart and I were able to clear EX1 yesterday. Super fun fight. We'll do EX2 probably another time. Our static is going to be doing 1 and 2 during normal raid week, so we'll have more DPS to kind of blow through those, which will be nice. We have a trial tomorrow, so I'm not going to be streaming for the trial. I'm going to let the trial kind of be. Overall, I liked EX1. I thought EX1 was really well done. It's nice to see the element of hardness being pushed upwards for even EX1, because I felt like old past expansions, the EXs weren't as easy or weren't as hard. So it's definitely nice to see. The expert dungeons I find to be a little bit higher par of difficulty, which is nice.
I think the only thing is fuck the first boss of the amusement park dungeon. Oh my god.
You don't like to wear hats? Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh, dude, that fucking I like that dungeon, that boss, man. That boss is gonna give me nightmares.
My problem with the Western one, with the Shaloni one, is the first boss, super good, right? I think they did a great job with that first boss. The second boss, utter garbage. They did a terrible job with that boss. Second boss is the bomb boss, where he drops the bombs in the holes.
Oh yeah. I only did it the once. Every expert
literally does it over and over and over again. It's the same mechanic. It's only one mechanic that he does.
Yeah.
And then the third boss is obviously the Ronka, which was awesome.
That was awesome. Big good callback to people who loved Shadowbringers and that whole story.
Yep.
It's a puzzle boss. Or the second boss. I mean, like, it's sort of a puzzle. It's literally just it goes in the square hole.
Yeah. The circle goes in the circle hole.
Yeah.
I'll throw some predictions out there. I think for societies, so anybody who's not aware, it went from beast tribes to tribes, and it's now societies. And I think that's because we're moving into more humanoid societies that they're trying to get off of the tribes.
I think they've been actively changing them as the stories progressed to being more seen as actually civilized people. They're not beast tribes. They're the beasts that we're deeming to relate to. They're actually like
people.
People, countries, foreign countries that we're trying to build relations with. So they're just allied societies now.
Yeah, I think so. Here's my thoughts, and here's my educated guesses. Right, I think the Mumblejaw will be the Gathering.
I'm pretty sure they already announced who they were going to be.
No, only one of them's been announced. The Pelu Pelu was the only one that they announced.
No, they announced the Moblins as well. The Moblins are also
really?
One. Yeah.
Gross.
And then
I think that changes all the things.
I thought they said the Giants were also going to be the third one.
Oh, that's such a bummer. If that's what it is, that makes me angry. Because I would say Pelu as Crafter Gatherer, or as Crafter. I was gonna say the Mumblejaw as Gathering because of the story point of them rebuilding their crop. And then I would say either the Giants or the Endless for battle.
I would say I will say that they're probably gonna put the Ascian in the normal raid, in the normal raid. Sorry, I could definitely see them doing that. I will say
probably be a contender or something in the fight.
We need an Ascian in the main story some way. They need to make Eden required so they can bring Gaia back in. or they need to bring an ASEAN back in because we're unlocking multi-dimensional travel. We need someone who can be
and that's
like,
the big thing, right?
This is this shard. This is this shard. This is that shard.
Right.
Yeah, I know people like the symbol for on the notice board is similar to the Pastorat symbol.
And yeah, so it won't be surprising if they bring somebody in, right? And then they can utilize the normal raids as being a requirement for the next EX or the next expansion or future, right? So like maybe we take an expansion where we don't know what to do with it, and because a lot of people want to go to Maricidia, so like that's been a big push. So like we either get another reflection next expansion or we go to Maricidia. I think those are the two logical only things that we can do at this point. And maybe Maricidia helps us find that point.
I don't see them not having us take Ishtola to the first, using it in the patch quests.
That's true. We could definitely do that.
Yeah, I mean, like we gotta get Ishtola that date. We gotta he got in. We gotta be his wingman.
That's funny.
I don't know why I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah.
Bring Zero back. I mean,
over.
like, I could see we're gonna build up, right? We're gonna go to other shards, right?
We're gonna build up a roster of people who have to go to other shards, so it's definitely gonna be. We're definitely gonna see. Wuklamat's gonna be a regular. Zero, I think, will come back.
We're gonna have a multi-dimensional Avengers that's gonna fight the final boss at the end. It's gonna have Rain, Gaia, Zero.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the ultimate goal to ending this story. So, Blackmore, I think the ultimate goal to ending this story, right, is to bring all the shards back in safely. And I think that's what the hope is.
We do technically have that tech now.
Right.
The Alexandria merged safely with the first. Now it did have that bubble dome that took them 30 years.
We know it's possible, and then we had to break the bubble.
Yeah, but no one died in the process.
Right. What I'm saying is that like we're at and that's only part of the population, right? It was between like there's more than just the two cities that we're fighting between Limbom and Alexandria. So like
yeah, they teleported one city. Yeah,
they teleported one city with 2 citizen inhabitants and then merged it with a 3rd inhabitant set. So it's like it's technically 3 types of people being brought in. But it's bring Goldbest to the first. Get the hell out of here. It's definitely one of those things that like the technology's there. The question is whether we use Maricidia as a path to figure that out, or if we move into it right away, right? So the EX8 will expansion 8 will either be an immediate move to another source to start bringing them in, or it'll be a Maricidia expansion where we learn more about the tech and get that up and going.
I can see Maricidia being part of like an actual expansion, not something like the 13th, right?
Yeah.
I'm already sad that the 13th wasn't like didn't give us zones. They just, I mean, I hope they eventually do, right? And I'd be fine with like 3 zones of Maricidia, right? They can give us Queensland and it's Australia, but we give us like 3 zones of Maricidia and 3 zones of like the 13th or something. Already there in ARR? What do you mean? Are you talking about the Crystal Tower World Darkness? Oh yeah. I also can't tell if you're muted again. If you're talking.
Me? No, I wasn't talking.
Oh, okay.
I was looking at something.
Okay. I mean, yeah, we were in the World Dark. Yeah, but I'm saying like we don't have zones, right? We don't have like we don't have an Aetheryte that we can teleport to with a full zone that we can like explore and things like that, and like people to interact with. I mean, there's definitely so there's a couple things that we can do. I think 100% we're gonna they left this hanging. There's the Levin sickness, right? Of all the people, of the children that because of the lightning dome were getting sick. That's 100% tempering. We're gonna take Alizé. We're gonna go cure that. They're getting their aether conduction shifted towards the lightning aspect. That's the exact same fix as the tempering fix. So we're gonna do that, but we started the thing that's like left hanging. We have to touch on it during the patch notes. Is that we started like healing and curing the 13th. We have to get something more on that.
Yep.
So I think the patch notes are really gonna. We're gonna team up with Ishtola, especially because she wasn't in the main. She was like barely in the main story, and we're gonna be dimension hopping, kind of like Endwalker's patch notes.
What about the Queen's Crown in the cutscene?
What do you mean the Queen's Crown in the cutscene? What are you talking about?
Oh, the floating crown at the very end.
Huh?
So giants have not been confirmed, but Pelu Pelu and Moblin have. So just as an FYI.
Yeah. I had it pulled up, but I thought I remember them talking about the giants.
Yeah, that makes me kind of upset because I really wish that they would use the Mumble Jaw for gathering, given that they were.
I mean, it still could.
Their whole story is based around that.
I kind of see the Makotes actually being the gathering.
Really?
And yeah, because there was the whole point of like they're very Native American based. Like they're about like living with the land.
Yeah, but I mean between the Pelu Pelu, the Hetsasaro, between the Pelu Pelu and the Moblins, you're either gonna get crafting and gathering from either of those, right? I mean, you have to. Like, you're not gonna get battle from Pelu Pelu or Moblin.
You could.
I mean, you could get battle from maybe Moblin for the road that's been inhabited by bandits, but like, there are better. Like, I could see the giants being the battle because you've got that other tribe, right? The other tribe that like you're trying to forge the alliance with.
Yeah, there's a whole area that's you had to go there if you got flight because there's the Aether Current back there.
There's an Aether Current back there.
There's a whole village and they're all red enemies. So.
Right, and that's why I was thinking, like, if you go Pelu Pelu, that's zone 1, that's zone area 1, right? Because you already, like, so here's my mentality, right? You already have the Vanu Vanu, which are basically the Hanu Hanu, right? Doesn't make sense to have another class like that, which is why the Moblins to me was a shock, because they're almost like the kobolds. Like, you have a pull that you could pull from the Mummeljaw, which have never been done before.
Yeah, but I think one of the big things about pulling in the Hetsaro though would be even more of a pull away, though. Like the Pelu Pelu are already kind of a big pull away because they're already really humanoid. They're even more humanoid than Lalas.
Well, I'm just talking about doing the duplicates, right? Because like you don't want to duplicate. You don't want to feel like you're doing duplicate races, right? So you like Pelu Pelu is like a humanoid race that has never been done. Yeah, and that's why
I'll do
like
6.
Well, that's why I was thinking endless, right? You could do battle with endless because you could do like something that like infects the land that re-energizes it or something, and then
I would say combat zone 5, the Shatona. But again, that's a redo because wasn't the combat or the gathering one in Shadowbringers, wasn't that Vera?
That's Viera, yeah.
Yeah, so it'd almost be like Vera again.
Right, and that's why I'm thinking, because you had the Omicrons, because you had the Omicrons and Endwalker. But like think about what we did for the Loporits, right, where we built up that space and re-energized it.
I could see the Crafter being being the Moblins because they still have their road destroyed, like you mentioned before. We could be rebuilding the road as the and reconnection.
I think if we get the Moblins, we're going to be Potsworn. That's what's going to happen.
That too, yeah.
So. I don't know. I would have liked them to tug the chain of the Mummeljaw where it was this big, like they're transitioning their gardening over. It would have been a perfect opportunity for gatherers. But
we can bring them into the interdimension or interplanetary like gathering thing maybe. Although I think that might be attached to Zone 5 or Zone 6.
Well, the interplanetary stuff is its own planet. I mean, it's literally.
We're changing planets actively. because they're gonna reset the zone on certain patches, and that's gonna be us changing planets.
I think they're gonna treat it like Firmament, but then they're gonna have you're gonna have an ability to go back and see the progress of those old planets.
I don't know if they will. I think it's gonna be Firmament, but they're gonna reset it, and it's gonna be like like seasons in like other video games, right?
Maybe.
Like, oh, the progress happened, and you get like
Just something
like,
that they can
the PvP
constantly
season.
update, maybe instead of it being like stale, like Firmament was only to level 80.
Yeah, I mean, well, you can do like the PvP rewards, right? How like there's a
Right.
battle pass attached to it effectively, but
Maybe.
it's a
Yeah, that would make
collective
sense.
use. You get rewards as the community completes goals, and then whenever a patch rolls in, maybe odd patches, maybe even patches, whatever, we get it resets the planet, and we get another goal as a community. We reach the goal. Everybody who contributed gets a mount or a gear set or something like that.
Yeah,
An
that'll
emote.
be. I'm interested for that. I'm actually waiting on alt gatherers and crafters until that point. I have enough to be able to do repairs. I'll just have to have somebody meld for me, but like, I'm not worried about any of that.
I mean, like, I can meld for you, you can meld for me, right? So it's
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
alts.
So I'm not. And again, I can probably meld them on my main and have them transfer over. So I'm not, like,
exactly that. Like, yeah.
super worried. But it's like I'm not worried about those crafters until like something easier comes along. So I think this planet thing is going to be a replacement for Firmament for 80 and beyond, and it'll be lucrative for that use.
Yeah. So here's one thing I'm thinking, actually. So we're talking about the Endless, right? I don't think the Endless are coming back. I mean, I would love to turn the lights back on in that zone. I'm
Yeah.
not the only one. A lot of people want the lights turned back on. I don't even care about the people. Yeah, the people being in there made that zone feel so alive. It was great. Like, it actually felt like we were in like a city. It felt alive. It felt more alive than the main city places, in my
Right.
opinion. They did such a good job on that. And then we turned the lights off. We turned off all the people in there, and it now it's so depressing to go there, and it's not a fun zone to be in. So maybe we get some quests to turn the lights back on. But they already said the way to power the Endless has to be through souls. Maybe there's an alternative that we find. But until
We didn't
then,
get Kona in there to take a look. He didn't get a chance to take a look yet.
I mean, we could show Charlotte. I mean, I'm sure all the freaking
That's-
Scions are writing.
That's the other thing for me that like we could utilize for battle, like or for society for battle, is that like you have that one mission where you have to battle the thing to get the ring back, so that he can give the ring to the woman that he loves. You could have like unfulfilled, endless that need something done in order for them to be fulfilled within their lives and be okay to move on. Because there's a lot we didn't get to see, right? Because they were like, not everybody gets to be activated.
So my thing I'm thinking is that the Baja is going to be that shard.
Oh, that'd be cool.
We're gonna go explore the rest of the shard outside Alexandria, because we have access to it. Like, maybe not touch the Endless, but maybe like that living memory is the base we jump off from to go into the rest of the place.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that was something I had thought right now.
But I think they did a good job of wrapping up. Like I said, the story was well done. It finished off well. The villain was in disguise for a long time. I really feel like I felt like the villain was really apparent, like truly apparent until probably halfway through that fifth zone. I mean, you knew Geralza was going to be a villain. Like, you kind of knew that through the course of the actions and things and whatnot.
Yeah, I think they foreshadowed it properly, though. I don't think it was completely out of left field. I think it was shown well. You were able to call it if you were, but you were 100% able to call something completely different and then be like, oh man, I thought that, but I just didn't think it was actually.
Yeah, I mean, Pain was very clear. I mean, Celine was very clearly there the whole time, right? I mean, like, I was like, you obviously had the Naruto Sasuke situation between Wuklama and Zeralja, and then a Pain situation with Celine, where she could transfer to anybody that she wanted.
That was one thing I was. So Alex mentioned that Sphene was a really good anti-villain. one of the best things, I think Steen was one of the best villains we've seen in 14, even though she was really short. She was only there for 2 zones, right? Um, the best villains are ones where you can sit there for a second, and when they're talking, you can be like, I think they're right. Maybe they're right. Like they're a little misconstrued, but fuck, they're right. And I think those are the best villains. I think Sphene is 100% like, she's right. She needs to protect her people. She needs to like this is something that she needs to do.
Whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes. She's
misconstrued that like the lives of the living should not be given for the lives of the dead.
But it's also an endless cycle, right? Because like they're taking in the lives of the dead and their memories and making them endless, which causes more need for more power, which means more souls, more power. Alex and I had a DM about this when you got to this point, because you literally hit the plot point on the head before it was fully revealed to be true, which was like, well, you're gonna have a stock issue. Like, if you don't have enough souls to keep things alive. And I was like, wow, way to be like in early Zone 4 and literally figure out the entire plot of the rest of the game.
Well, okay, well, I'm sorry. I hear, oh yeah, we live forever because we consume the souls of the dead anytime that we could die. I'm like, wait, but your death rate has to outstrip your birth rate for that to happen, which means you're gonna run out of souls eventually. Right. It was simple economics, okay?
Yeah, it's simple. Simple living economics, right? You need souls to live.
That's funny though.
Yeah, we were just laughing about the fact that like we didn't say anything. I didn't even shrug. Like the problem with shrugging nowadays is like, oh yeah, that's it, right? You see a shrug and you're like, oh yeah, that's the plot point right there. Yep, got it.
I don't think that, because I think even if I'm completely wrong, Alex is still gonna shrug me.
I know.
Even if I'm just like, I think Sphene is gonna turn to our side and she's gonna like Kamehameha blast Zaralja as the final move in the extreme.
Now, see, Blackmore, this is the way this works, right? Because of time and the way that everything flows, you just find a place that grows faster than you, take only what you need, and then you wait for them to regrow again. Wait a few days and go back again.
Yeah, that's the thing. She doesn't know that there's thousands of shards. But even then, like also talking about like going to just other planets. And I think another thing that she doesn't realize is that most of life in the universe has been plucked out by Despairbird. I can't why can't I think of her name right now?
Medion?
Yeah, Medion. Like Medion already, like by the time we were the last hope according to Midgard's armor, right? So like most other planets have been plucked out. There are other planets with life on it, but a lot of them got plucked out by Medions.
She absolutely did. She absolutely did. If you think that she can't, like, she's doing shard travel, if you don't think she can go to space, I think I think it's very slightly miscited. Their technology was super advanced.
The wonders of Electrope.
Yeah, the wonders of Electrope. I think space was an option for them. And they potentially ventured it.
Yeah, they've got fucking Cybertrucks.
The Cybertrucks.
Cybertruck next.
They've got gangs too. I heard those Milalas are a real pain in the ass.
Don't mess with the Milalas.
Don't mess with the Milalas.
I really hope we get. So I want either the energy drink to be an emote or a item. Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be a bot emote, like $2, $3, $5, whatever. And then I want the squat, but I also could see that being a fucking paid for emote as well.
The squat. Yeah, the governmental district. Yeah, I think that's gonna come with the raid. I think there's gonna be some kind of like the story's gonna bring you to like needing to get some kind of government regulation to continue the fights or whatever.
Do we have in I don't remember. There's no preemptive shopkeep for the raid books yet, is there? Huh?
No.
I can see that being in that area. Although I could also see it just being in TrueView, like next to where the raids are.
Yeah.
It could be in either one of the 3 zones of Solution 9. Yeah.
Solution 9 housing when? or apartments. Just do apartments. They don't even housing. Just do apartments.
I mean, we already know it's like all apartments anyways. That's another thing. Like they missed on the Crystarium apartments too.
I think they'll do Crystarium. I think now that we have a means of shard travel, they'll do the Crystarium because now it makes sense, right? Because people can travel back and forth.
Yeah, because both of them had like the same solution, right? Everybody in that
he knows it's a problem solution. Though, and again, I'm gonna step back and I'm gonna claim my high horse on this. This problem was easily solvable, right? You create instance housing for the Scions of the Dawn that allows you to do gardening and subs, and then it's no longer locked behind housing. They keep talking about this issue with the market board. How do you get rid of the market board? You flood the market with items. If you allow anybody to do ships, then any of them can do ships. Yeah, and that's the thing though, is like the broad miss here is that the Scion's house literally could have been a gardening, shipbuilding hideout. That like and like we talked about this before. Guild Wars 1 did
like island.
Yeah, it could function like islands. Guild Wars 1 did it this way, right? Whoever was party lead when you went into that instance, it was their instance.
So, yeah, ESO also does it this way, and I mean I'm gonna be the OCP apologist. The point of the housing in 14 was that it feels like a community, and in a lot of areas it still does. A lot of areas it doesn't because one person still owns the entire fucking district. But in a lot of areas,
but sure, you can still have that community. You can still give people that community feel in a housing that doesn't lock certain aspects of the game behind it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like locking the gardening behind it, it was definitely a bad idea. But yeah, so saying the original design was that it's supposed to be a community feeling housing. And it was nothing. It was something no other MMOs had ever done before, and they really want to keep that because it is a really cool aspect. You still have all the fucking raves happening and multi-house parties that happen on Twitch and stuff like that. It's a really cool.
I'm not against the community feel piece of it. I just think that like they keep bitching about the market being as high as it is.
And I think you're right. And I think the answer is to make like the Waking Sands effectively like the island,
instance
but available at the end of ARR, right? And and allow it to be like a house that you build up, and you can garden there, and there's a workshop there, and you can build up that
doesn't
house.
solve the problem. You're still dealing with the gardening issue. That might solve the subs problem, but you can't put full 9 block plots inside an apartment building. There's not enough space. And the ships and stuff are done via the workshop, so you'd need a workshop. That's what I'm saying. Like the Scion, a Scion's hideout that is gardening and this is the thing, is it opens it up to everybody, right? If you say everybody gets a house, but you have to spend 5 million on it, right? Not everybody's gonna buy a house because not everybody's gonna hold on to 5 million. Oh, use the instance aspect of apartment. That still has a cap.
I am still behind, like, make it like an island, right? But make it like rebuilding instead of like working on an island, you're rebuilding an actual like building and like complex kind of thing. Have the aspects that are in a house, but not as much freedom of design in a front yard and things like that. But have like crop plots. I mean, you could take fucking especially now. Or probably not actually if you set this as a 2.0 option, but you set up electro plots, right, where like there's grass and there's artificial light coming down. You can do that.
We get another situation like Harley felt like, where they wanted to do the island, but it was locked behind EW.
Yeah, you gotta unlock it early. That's the other thing. You gotta give it in.
Yeah.
You gotta get it in at the end of 2.0.
But yeah, like I mean, at the end of 1.0 or the end of 2.0 is perfect because you're already moving to the Waking Sands at that point, or to the bar.
Rising Stones. Yeah.
To the Rising Stone.
Waking Sands, Rising Stone, Falling Snow. Did I miss one?
But it's already right there, right? It seems like you could do gardening in the backyard and subs in one of the rooms that the door's there, but nobody's it's got nothing going to it, right?
Yeah.
So like the space is already pretty well made. You just add a door that leads to a backyard that gives you three plots.
There's
done.
there's multi floors too. You could just go up.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things that like very easily could be something that could be great quality of life for everybody, where it's not locked behind market. Like there's items that you need, but you have to get them from subs. Well, that locks anybody who doesn't have access to subs right out. You have to pay for them.
The problem with apartments is that there's other solutions to it, right? Like FC. Your FC house is the exact same as an apartment.
Yeah, your FC room is an apartment, basically. Other than if you get kicked, it doesn't get destroyed. But, again, also, it doesn't include gardening. It doesn't include gardening. It's literally aesthetic.
I mean, like, what aspect do you want them to add to the apartments? I mean, like, yeah, they could add, like, a back door to it, right? They could add, like, and you go through that back door, and it could have two options, right? It could be one, a workshop, two, a garden, and you pop out on, like, this kind of, like, patio outside, and then there's like just like garden plots, and you can plant there.
And you can make it so that your friends can't go into those, right? So it's just they can only go into the apartment main portion.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There's solutions, but that's definitely something that they've missed, and they could add 100%. But I think that's not something that's on their to-do list. I think because I mean, as much as we're talking about this, I don't want the dev team to be focusing on this. I want them to be focusing on Data Center Party Finder and Duty Finder.
With glamour dressers to avoid the issue of glamour dressers in the house that can crash servers. Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
And glamour in general. I think they solved the glamour issue with like a transmog system. Honestly, we talked about this before. Just create a transmog system. I think that's what they're working on, because they haven't said anything about glamour. They did a massive dye update. They did all these things with dye, and then they didn't do anything with glamour. I think they're working on something big.
Yeah. I also really want that. I mean, it was your idea, but like after you said it, I'm like, I'm a champion of it. I want a fucking materia plate.
Yep.
Man.
I want the materia plate so bad. It's such a pain in the ass to have to like regather all the equipment and have to then remeld the second set, which you can't even have because you can't have more than one set of each armor.
Yeah, because like in a lot of the classes that are on the same roles, they don't play the same. So you want like going too much skill speed on one is going to make you drift, but you need that much skill speed on another one, otherwise you're going to be out of sync.
Right. So you need different materia for different setups, and I think it'd be easier to just do a plate attached to a gear set. Loadouts, yeah. That would basically what it would be. It'd be a loadout. They could attack a glamour plate to the loadout, so you get a glamour, a materia, and the job with its armor. That would be the easy fix.
Wait, housing glamour addresses the fact that the dresser itself has to be placed as a physical item. Yeah, that's why Blackmore wants just to be like a walk-in closet. Don't make it a physical item. Make it like the back door kind of thing. Make it to something that's a part of housing. Just like how it's a part of not apartments, but the inn, right? Granted, it's a physical item in the inn, but it doesn't need to be. It could literally just be like it could literally be 2D rendered curtains on the wall, and if you look too hard at it, you can see that it's like super flat, and it doesn't actually like protrude, and it just has like a little white light in the center of it, and you click it, and then it enters you into like the character creation screen where like it's got the whole like blue sparkly background, and you have all your gear on the left, and you can just like change all your gear. He wants GTA closet outfit change. That's what he wants.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Oh. There's definitely a lot of things they can do. Personal non-FC houses, though? Wait, what do you mean? Oh, you can just add that door. I mean, like, yeah, people wouldn't want that door. The problem is that people wouldn't like the door. That's my thing with that. But you can definitely make it like.
Yeah, but if they got something they wanted in exchange, I think they'd be fine.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But again, I think in personal housing you could do that, right? You could just do a door that gives you a workshop and a gardening, or well, you have gardening out front, I guess, and then you could do like the closet.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, people have wanted workshop and personals anyways, so they're gonna get that door anyways. People, so just put that door, give it two options: the workshop and a walk-in closet.
Yep.
I think 100% a good fix, and it automatically makes it so you don't need the glamour dresser. You can have the glamour dresser if you want, maybe, but as the aesthetic, maybe a permanent dresser next to each market board in the wards, that'd be a little weird. I mean, they'd have to redesign it.
So, anyways, but overall, yeah, I really liked the difficulty of things. I think they really they saw what Xenos did and really went back and buffed out some of the damage and added some stacks where they didn't have stacks before. All the EX fights all of the expert dungeons have party stacks on most of the bosses, which really hinders a tank's ability to be able to survive through.
I will say that tank buster is probably the best tank mechanic in the game right now.
And the EX one, yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool.
Like I praised the sword catch out of that. There's in a couple fights, but was originally in Susano. This beats the sword catch. It's so good.
Yeah, for those who are unfamiliar from an EX standpoint, there's a Galermanda does a it's called Mountain Fire, and he puts down a tank buster icon, and basically it's 6 hits, but the tanks have to flip flop it. They have to.
We've already said we're already in spoilers.
Yeah, we're already in spoilers. We already gave the spoiler warning.
So
basically it creates a cone. You flip flop and you have to manage your mitts, because I'm using all 3. I run the new Vengeance and Bloodwetting to start, and then after the second hit I run Rampart, because you have to. My mitts don't last long enough. Damnation.
Yeah, the second one I've had to help a little bit as a shield healer. If we get the one right before Enrage, I had to help out Paladin a little bit with but it was super cool. Like as a tank, you just it's literally you protecting the party. In like the best way. You eat the flame coming at you, and you shield it, and it creates a safe space. It's so good. Yeah. It is like the ultimate tank like fantasy.
The tankiest fantasy ever.
I mean, so like Monster Hunter World, there's the final big fight. He's known for like having the strongest firepower. He literally melts like metal in the stadium with his like fire breath. If you have a shield and you have enough stamina to block his like cone fire breaths, people can stand behind you, because you also divert it just like that, and then you can stand behind some like stone pillars and they'll do it too. But it's that's what I was thinking of when I saw it, and I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. It does cause a little bit of craziness when people are having to like bob and weave back and forth from one side to the other, because he does change where he's throwing it. But it's
he has some run all the way across the arena mechanics.
Yeah.
Like in fire phase and in ice phase, when he does the his in cone or out mechanic.
Yeah, and then the little beams. The
ice one. If you're on the left, you have to run all the way across.
The icicle.
Yeah. If it's cone and fire phase, and you're on the other side after the volcano eruption, you have to run all the way to the other fucking side of the arena.
Yeah. It's a good fight. Like I said, I like the difficulty that they've been bringing, which is nice.
As a healer, I'm definitely over healing at this point. Like I'm healing more than I need to. I could let the mitts take care of more.
EX3 is gonna
But
be so good.
I'm very happy with the hit. That like Harrowing Hell was like that's where as a healer a lot of times you like felt something, right? It was just the constant bombardment of damage, and they have that in at least in Value Armada. I'm not entirely certain how in EX2 because I haven't done it yet, but they have that in multiple points.
The
right?
bagel strat, so the Congo line. So I call it party bus because the way it's supposed to work is the tanks are supposed to take it separately, and then they converge, and then everybody gets on the party bus.
Okay.
So it's not like because it diminishes the damage as everybody takes it together. So there's a 2-second, it's a 2-second vuln that you have to wait between each hit in order to be able to do to sack the vuln. Basically is like your tanks take it and then it goes past them and then they follow behind it and they group up together with the one who's there and then they take that and it splits it into 3 because the only one that's taking it is the DPS and then they go down and it splits it to 4, splits it to 5, splits it to 6, splits it to 7. So it's like a party bus because you're slowly adding people to the pile to diminish the damage.
Yeah.
I get why it's called Congo line because you stand in a line in order to get it started, but you're technically you're not Congo lining to a point where it's like, okay, I'm done with this mechanic. The moment you're in, you're in. No,
well, how does a Congo line work? You all get together, like in real, you all get together, you stand in a line, you'll like walk together in a line, and you do a dance. You're walking together in a line into the wall, and then you walk together in a line back.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty aptly, in my opinion.
So,
but I mean, I haven't done the mechanic.
I've seen Val do it a couple times. Or not Val. Yeah, I saw Val do it a couple times, and then I was watching Snuggles was doing it. So I watched Snuggles do it.
Did he clear EX1?
He did clear EX1. And Jay has also cleared EX1. So 5 of us, well, 6 of us have cleared EX1 because the trial tomorrow, the healer has already cleared EX1. So we've got 2. We'll have to, unless Ven and Trog have already done it, we'll have 2 that we need to drag through Prague with, which won't be a big deal. We fresh progged with a bunch of us pretty quickly yesterday, so
yeah, this weekend if anyone in my chat or anything like that, I'll post on my Discord if anyone wants to like get taught it by me or anything like that, I am willing to pull people in.
Yeah, this is the last weekend before Static is going to be crunching it on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, because we'll be doing EX after norms for our time to get used to being in time for Static.
Nice. Okay, can I just say, man, the tome weapons suck so bad. Oh, as healer at least. Like, why are they all such bad stats?
This is still early Tomestone. There's another Tomestone weapon coming in.
I know, but like, I don't want that fucking weapon. Det Direct's not bad. I mean, like, you want crit. White Mage weapon is good on Tome, but like,
yeah, which means you can pour a crit into it, so it's not like it's that big of a deal.
I mean, no, it's bad because you want a 300 crit. No, the Valley Armando weapons are good. No, I'm just bitching.
Yeah, because you'll probably end up using the crafted to begin with, anyways.
Maybe. I know the Astro Valley Armando is actually really good.
Yeah, but it's not going to be pentamelded 10 eye level above.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Hopefully, it has some good stats. Hopefully, the raid one is actually like good stats. That'd be suck if the raid one has like spell speed piety. Fuck.
They've done it.
I know.
It's been a shitty weapon, but they've done it. But yeah, I don't have anything else. I'm happy with where we are.
I think that is a good stopping point.
Yeah, I think the plan for this week will be I'll probably stream Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday in preparation to just start getting back into the cycle of things. I'm not streaming tomorrow because it's a trial.
I'll probably stream tomorrow, but I'll have Discord muted. I'm not gonna.
Oh, we got raided. Gibbles got
we got raided. Wait, no, you got raided.
Did I get raided? I got raided. Something like that.
You got raided. Got raided. Hey!
Hey! All right, all right, all right. So I know a lot of the people that you have with you are big Final Fantasy peeps. We need opinions. What are people's opinions on the story before we crash for the night? What are people's thoughts? Val, what are your thoughts on EX1 and EX2? You were brought here against your will. You knew what you were coming into. Well, that's right. I have the new the new shout out stuff.
New shoutouts of AI.
Yeah, I'm using
stuff.
the Frosty tools.
Yeah, that was all right. We liked the first one. The first one was really good.
Yep.
I think it has a really cool tank mech. I think it has a really cool. I think all the multi hits kind of satisfy the healer bitching. And then the movement's a lot though. I haven't touched the second one. I don't know how much movement's there.
Let me get a.
You want more oboes?
Make it a Valorant shout out there.
Yeah.
Greeting Earthlings. Embark on an epic quest of digital cosmos to the FF14 and survival realms. With a positive warp drive and chaotic nebula of memory, their streams are supernova of fun. From the EX trial blind jumps to dawn trails, high-level maneuvers, they're a virtual captain of want to follow. Engage in their broadcasts for a chill interstellar ride.
I love how corporate that sounds.
You have to pick a theme when you do it.
Yeah. Yay! What's Mech 1 in EX2?
Thank you for this news.
It's the swords?
Mech 1 and EX2 is the like the 16 swords, but then they turn into like the lines that you have to dodge.
Oh yeah.
It's the donuts and point blanks.
Yeah. Oh wait, the donuts and point blanks? That's Mech 1? I thought that was like Mech 3 or 4.
No, she doesn't like one mech, not Mech 1. She doesn't like one mech.
Oh, okay. Okay, I misread it. Is it the conga line? Do you not like the conga line?
Val is not a fan of the conga line.
You guys gotta dance. All right, what's your so yeah? You're not streaming.
Oh, it's probably the air one where they have to launch yourself.
All the lines. So
yeah,
you're right. It is the lines. Yeah, it's the one with the arrows where like it crisscrosses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
all of the lines.
Yeah, so I'll be streaming probably every day this week except for Thursday, Friday, as I usually don't stream those days. Tomorrow, while we are doing the trial, just because I'm not streaming Thursday or Friday, I will probably be streaming that, but I will have Discord muted and I will.
We can ask. I mean, worst case scenario, we can stream. We'll just ask.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll be doing some EX1 tomorrow as well. And then yeah, Saturday, Alex, or Saturday, I will be doing, and Sunday I will be doing EXs. If anyone wants to join in, I will probably maybe try and learn EX2. If no one wants to learn EX1 with me, then I will gladly teach. But if
gotta get Joy through the story so we can get them through EX1.
Yeah, I think Joy said they finished the story.
Joy did. They like they had just gotten to the 5th area, or they had just gotten to Solution 9 when they had gotten there.
I thought he said he had just finished the story, but he hadn't done any streams yet.
Oh, maybe.
But yeah, I mean, if Joy's there and not like super busy, I'll pull Joy through.
100%. After yesterday's little like.
Oh yeah, he paid for a clear.
For sure, paid for all of your time.
Yeah. All right.
That was pretty funny. So, all right, guys. Well, if nobody else has any questions or opinions that they want us to react to. Oh my God, my notifications are late.
No.
Good Lord. Gonna get another shout out. Snooze. All right. Anyways, all right, guys. Have a great night, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks for the next episode. Otherwise, you'll see you guys on our independent streams. Yeah, there we go. It's just gonna hit again. It's all good. All right, and we are out of here.
Bye.